It was an exclusive night of fire how President Ibrahim Traore fought off an armed siege at his villa. It began as an unusually quiet Friday evening in the leafy residential neighborhood of Zone du Bois. By sunrise the next morning, the street outside President Ibrahim Traore's private villa was littered with bullet casings, burnt debris, and the charred remains of what one witness called a wall of fire like something from a war movie. Just after 8:45 p.m., a convoy of unmarked vehicles, later identified as a mix of Toyota Hilux pickups and dirt bikes, rolled quietly into the area. Within 40 minutes, they were gone, leaving behind at least 8 dead, multiple wounded, and a shaken but defiant head of state. In an operation security analysts are calling one of the most brazen direct assaults on a sitting African leader in recent memory, unidentified gunmen surrounded and attempted to storm the villa of the 36-year-old president. They did not succeed, and according to multiple sources inside the compound, that was due in no small part to Traore himself. He didn't hide, he didn't freeze, he fought, said one senior guard who survived the night. If he hadn't, I don't think any of us would be here. The street outside the villa is usually busy in the evenings, with neighborhood kids playing football and residents walking to small cafes nearby. That night, according to residents, the mood was different. I was on my balcony and saw the first truck, recalled a shop owner who lives 2 blocks from the compound. No headlights at first, then suddenly more came, at least 5 trucks. The way they moved, it didn't feel right. One of the president's outer guards, Cater B, was posted at the east gate when the convoy appeared. I thought maybe it was a military patrol, Cater said in an interview. But then I saw men in black, no insignia in their weapons. They weren't here to visit. Within minutes, 3 groups of attackers had taken positions around the villa's perimeter. The security lights cut out, later confirmed to have been disabled deliberately. 8:53 p.m., the first gunfire was reported from the east wall. Cater engaged 3 men attempting to scale the wall using ropes. I took one down, he said, his voice flat, as if replaying the moment on a loop. The others fired back. The wall was crumbling above my head. Inside the villa, Colonel Amadou, head of the president's personal guard, was briefing Traore on the next week's travel security when a radio call came in. We have movement outside. What happened next is corroborated by 3 separate security sources. The president armed himself with a standard-issue assault rifle and moved directly to the foyer. He told us, "We hold this house." Just like that. No hesitation, said Amadou. I've been in the army 20 years. I've never seen a commander do that. 9:02 p.m. The villa's heavy wooden front doors came under repeated blows. Surveillance cameras show the first hit splintering the upper panel, the second tearing the frame. On the 3rd strike, the hinges gave way. The first intruder inside was shot by the president himself, according to multiple guards present. 2 more attackers entered, one killed instantly, the other pinned behind a column until he was eliminated by Amadou's return fire. Outside, the attackers' trucks idled, engines low, their headlights off. Then, without warning, a low thump echoed the launch of a mortar round. It struck the villa's west wall, sending shock waves through the building and shattering windows. That's when I knew they were trying to kill everyone inside, said Lieutenant Ousmane, who suffered shrapnel wounds in the blast. 9:10 p.m., while Amadou's unit held the foyer, President Traore slipped into the villa's unlit service corridor. At the far end, the steel door had been shot open. A lone attacker stepped inside. What happened next was not captured on camera, but sources say the president dispatched him silently with a blade. From there, Traore emerged into the back lot, where 2 gunmen guarded parked trucks. He killed both, then discovered crates of ammunition and several explosive devices in the truck beds, enough to level much of the compound. It was during this phase that Traore spotted 3 more attackers climbing the east wall. Using one of the attackers' own grenades, he detonated the breach, sending the climbers crashing to the ground. It was calculated, said a security analyst who reviewed the scene the next morning. He wasn't just defending, he was dismantling their plan piece by piece. In 9:18 p.m., the distinctive whine of dirt bike engines signaled a new phase. Witnesses in neighboring buildings counted at least a dozen riders swarming toward the back lot. Kader, repositioned on the villa's balcony, opened fire from above while the president targeted riders on the ground. Several were unseated, but the group split, some attempting to flank the villa. During the chaos, Traore identified the attacker's apparent leader, a tall man with a red scarf moving toward the sidewall with two others. Sources say they were carrying a satchel containing C4 explosives. Traore pursued, killing one and throwing the explosive device clear seconds before it detonated midair. The leader escaped into the dark, abandoning his plan, but not before deploying a flashbang that temporarily blinded the president. 9:27 p.m., the main gate finally fell, allowing the attackers to flood the courtyard. Guards in the foyer were outnumbered. Amadou radioed the president, warning, "We can't hold them." Instead of retreating, Traore gathered fuel cans dropped by the attackers, splashing them across the marble foyer. As the first wave of gunmen appeared in the doorway, led by the man in the red scarf, the president lit a flare. Eyewitnesses describe a wall of fire racing across the hall, forcing the attackers back. Cell phone footage obtained by the Daily Chronicle and verified by independent analysts shows silhouettes stumbling through thick smoke, retreating under heavy guard fire as flames licked up the villa's pillars. "That fire saved the villa," said Amadou. "They couldn't push through, and they knew it." By 9:41 p.m., the attackers began to withdraw. Trucks and motorbikes pulled away, leaving dead and wounded behind. The leader in the red scarf was seen last, disappearing into a side street, reportedly unharmed. 3 members of the Presidential Guard were injured, none fatally. At least 8 attackers were confirmed dead at the scene. No group has yet claimed responsibility. The next morning, sunlight revealed the full damage. Shattered marble columns, charred walls, bullet holes peppering the once pristine gates. The air still smelled faintly of fuel. In a brief statement to reporters outside the villa, President Traore stood with soot on his uniform and said only, "If they come again, they will not leave." Military convoys now patrol the neighborhood. Checkpoints have been established at all major intersections within a kilometer of the villa. Security officials remain tight-lipped, but intelligence sources suggest the attackers were not random militants. Their coordination, equipment, and knowledge of the villa's layout point to well-trained, well-informed operators. A senior intelligence officer, speaking anonymously, told the Daily Chronicle, "They knew where to cut the power, where the blind spots in CCTV were, even the timing of the guard shifts. This was planned with inside knowledge." The mysterious leader spotted throughout the assault has become a focal point of the investigation. Multiple guards described him as calm, deliberate, and not afraid to look the president in the eye. Analysts believe he may be a former Special Forces operative turned mercenary, possibly linked to previous destabilization attempts in the Sahel. This is not the first time Ibrahim Traoré has faced danger directly. Rising to power during a 2022 military takeover, he has positioned himself as a staunch defender of national sovereignty and an outspoken critic of foreign interference. Last night's events may only strengthen his public image. As the investigation unfolds, security will remain at its highest level in the capital. Analysts warn the attempted assault may be a prelude to larger destabilization efforts. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe for more wonderful news to come. Bye for now.